Well, good evening. This is Gina Tadella. Thanks for joining me on this Memorial Day. And I would love to say thank you to all the men and women who have served our country or have served our country to give us our freedom and our right to be able to have liberty and prosperity. Anyways, so tonight I'm going to use Peaceful River. This is a stamp set that's in the new annual catalog of the 2025 to 2026. This is red rubber. So, anyways, and I'll be using all the stamps except for the small fish. So let me go ahead and peel this off. Stick this up underneath. And which one am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to do the tree one first. So let's go ahead and get that mounted. Hello, Linda. Thanks for joining in. So we need that and this wonderful sentiment. I should have bought the bigger block, but I didn't. Okay. Maybe this will work. Okay. All right. So this is the first card we're going to do tonight. I just love this stamp set, and I love the beautiful plaid DSP. I used that last week, and it's called the Timeless Plaid 6x6 paper. So tonight, I'm going to give you the measurements as I do each card. So whether you use this stamp set or this DSP, you can always use the same card layout. So let's get started. And using mint macaroon cardstock, that's 5.5 by 8.5. You could also use the soft sea foam and the old olive if you wanted to. We're going to go ahead and fold this in half. Let me get my bone folder. There we go. Oh, this is sliding. Okay. And then, of course, I cut out a piece of 4 by 5. Let me see. 4 by 5 1/4. This is the inside piece. And I'll show you what I did with that. That's just showing the fisherman. And he is stamped with the sea. So let me get that piece out. I didn't get him out. And he's stamped with Secret Sea. All right. So I need to put him on a block. All right. So we use the Secret Sea pad. This is one of our new end colors. It's like a dark night of navy. So when you open up a pad and you see where I put the blank label and then the name of they're on the back of your ink pad. Okay, so we're going to ink this up. Move this card out of the way. Don't want to get ink on it when I don't want to. And I need to prime that. There we go. And this is a vertical card. The other two are landscapes. And you just count to 5. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll clean that off. I'm going to close this. Nope, I need it for the sentiment. So what you want to do is you want to stamp the sentiment first. And this is, I believe it's a 2. It is. It's a 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 of the basic white. And this is the Secret Sea cardstock. This is 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. So we'll do that first. And where's my little sentiment? There it is. Move this over there with the card so it doesn't get messed up. Perfect. The reason why you want to stamp this first is because, I can't do this with my glasses on, is you want to make sure that you have all the verbiage on. And that stamps out wonderful. It says, somebody knows, somebody cares, your name is whispered in somebody's prayers. Isn't that a wonderful verse? Yes, indeed. Now, we're done with the secret C, so I'm going to close it up for the time being. And now I'm going to Mossy Meadow. And this is one of my old pads, so it opens the other way. So, you see how it's changing color right there? This pad's going to have to be replaced. After a period of time, they do get to that point. So don't be shocked at that. This is well inked. I'm going to bring it all the way to the bottom so I don't stamp on the saying. And I count to 5. And I hold the paper and pull up. See? Isn't that nice? Yeah. Okay, I move that out of the way. And we're going to close this up. Now, while this is drying with the other one, we're going to go ahead and mount the DSP. Now, this is cut at 2 by 5 inches. Now, remember, it's measured 6 by 6. So that 1 inch by 6 piece, you can use it so it doesn't go to waste. I like to cut my paper where it's not wastefulness. And then we're just going to mount that to here. I'm going to use my Tombow multi-purpose glue. Now what you don't want to do is you don't want to put too much because it will seep out. So just go gently around your edges. And then we're going to bring it to the edge. I cut this paper. The basic white is 4. No, it is 4 by 5. No, I didn't. It's 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Let me correct myself. So the basic white is 3 3/4 by 5 inches, which is going on to a piece of Mossy Meadow, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So we have 3 layers here. It really shows out the color in the DSP. You'll see what I mean when I put it on here. And then just center this to the best of your ability. Now it's going to go on to the mint macaroon. And some of y'all have the old color that we used to have, Sage Shadow. That would work. Center that. There's that part. Now we're ready to mount the focal point to the secret C. And get that centered on there best as possible. Remember, you're creating artwork. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for joining in. Okay. And the good thing about the wet glue, it gives it time to where you can kind of move it. Now we're going to go ahead and mount this. To this piece. There we go. Now we can put our inside piece, this one here. Sweetheart? He must have his headphones in. I forgot to bring my blending brush in, but that's okay. I'll show one with the blending brush and one without. So there is that one. See how nice and easy it is to create that card? Yes, indeedy. And then I just coordinated with the envelope, stamped the trees on the envelope, just like that. Okay, so let me clean off the stamps, get my simple chamois. Not that one, this one. This is wonderful. It gets all the ink off your stamp. Yep, and then where's the other one? So don't think you have to have a whole bunch of blocks. I'll move that off. And my next one, I need him, so just switch the color. There we go. So here is card number 2. It really shows the define of those plaids when you do it diamond shaped. So each card is done just a little bit different to show a variation. Put this back in the stamp pad, and I need to get the grass out. The grass, and the verbiage is just because. Need that one. And what do we have on the inside? The pier. We want that. So it worked with a D block. You just have to do it diamond shaped. I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so that's the one we're going to do now. So when you put it on the D block, you just do it like this, and the whole thing fits. Isn't that cool? Now we're going to mount this one on. We don't have this block anymore. These are the A blocks, but it will work on a C block. Okay, there's those. And we are done with the tree for right now. I'll move that out of the way. So, what do I do with the lid? Don't want to keep my glue uncovered. I don't want to screw it on though. So, now we're going to have the gray granite. Like I said, these both are going to be landscape, not portrait like I just did. These are 4 1/4 by 11. This is gray granite. We're just going to go ahead and fold this in half. Bring my foam folder to smooth that out a little bit better. So this is the inside piece. So when I don't use a white card base, I usually cut out a 4 by 5 1/4 basic white. And this is stamped in green, which is a mossy meadow. So since this stamp is bigger than the ink pad, or it's almost the same size as the ink pad, you want to bring this to it. And since this is a dark color, I don't need to check and prime it. So what I'm going to do, it goes right in this corner, straight down. This is just a nice, wonderful note card that you can use to send to somebody. There's that image. Isn't that nice? Oh, I had glue up there from my fingers. Now it's gone. Okay. I'll move that out of the way. And we need to leave the green open for the grass. So we're going to let this dry. We'll move this card base out of the way, and that one too. This is Early Espresso. It's 4 by 5 1/4. Basic white, 3 3/4 by 5. And this is the one we're going to mount the 2 by 5 inch piece of DSP. So we're going to go ahead and add our glue. Just a little bit there. Bring this down to the bottom. If you're not sure, just pick it up and bang, and then flip it over, and you can see there's no hangover edge. So you know you've mounted it just perfectly. Next, we're going to take the, I think this is 2 3/4. It is a 2 3/4 inch square. This is Early Espresso. So we want to mount this piece to this first. I did this for my Monday day class today over in West Bremerton. They really love these cards. I'll be doing it for class tomorrow. I must have ink on my hand. I do, but you ain't going to be able to notice that because it looks like it's in the paper. Okay, so now we're going to add this, and we're going to do it like a diamond. So what you want to do is you want to line this up with the top of your cut DSP. And that way you know you have it straight. And it doesn't want to work there, so let's turn it just a touch. Alright, don't stick yet. There we go. Bring it down just a little bit above the point. That way they'll be even. There's that. And then this is gray granite, and it's 2 1/2 inch square. Yes, I did, Debbie. And then we're going to mount this one onto here. And it really points out the plaid. Okay, so now we're ready to stamp this white piece. And I can go back and put the other stuff while this dries. So you want to turn it diamond. So we're going to stamp him first. And of course, he is in Early Espresso. So let me pull out the Early Espresso pad. Ink him up. And that's all inked. And we'll stamp him. Oh, nope, we need to do the saying first, just because. And that is in Secret C. Almost FUPO'd. So you want to ink this up. And whenever you have a smaller stamp, try to use the corner of the ink pad. That saves you from getting too much ink on the block everywhere. Always press in the center. There you go. Now we can stamp him. And make sure I'm using the right one. Yeah, because Mossy Meadows for the grass. So here we go. We're going to bring him up close to the top, but not on the saying. Count to 5. Hold your paper. There he is. And then we're going to bring in the grass. We're going to stamp grass there. Wrong color, Gina. I need green, not brown. Okay. let's just fix that. And your food pile, remember you got two sides of the paper. Hi, Bee. So let's go ahead and stamp the saying. There we go. That's why it's important to close pads up that you're not using. Let me stamp him again in the early espresso. And double check to make sure I had the right color of pad. There we go. Now we got the mossy meadow for the grass. Yep. We're going to bring it right here, below, and over here. There's that. Now, we are going to do a little bit of coloring. But before we do that, we got to let that dry. I need to clean those stamps off that we just used. You'll see how quickly it cleans them off. And then whenever it's got a lot of ink or dark ink, I always do that in the center. That's why it's all messed up and stained. You can't get that out. So don't try to use bleach. It's supposed to look like that. It just tells you it's taken all the ink off your stamp. And then you can always flip it over to use the other side. There we go. All right. So now we're going to color with 3 colors. Oh, B, you're so funny, honey. Oh my gosh. I'm going to color the fish first. Then I'm going to color his boots. And I used dark mint macaroon for the fish. And then I'm using light gray granite for his boots. And if you want it darker in certain areas, just go back and forth in that same area. Okay. And then for his hat, I'm using dark soft sea foam. I don't want to take away from the whole image. So that's the reason why you don't have to color all of it. Remember that. I just want to highlight a tone there. There we go. And so while this is drying, we can go and place this on the base and then place this piece on the inside. So let's do that. Well, I know your grass is green right now, Bee. It's not brown. You press that firmly, and we're going to open this up. And then we're going to add some glue on the back of this. I almost got too much glue there. That's why I'm trying to spread it out here. Oh, okay. I'm going to place this right in here. And whenever you're trying to center it, look at this corner and this corner. Don't worry about over here, okay? Because this is what helps you get it straight. Now, we're ready to place this image here. We're going to take our time. And get that centered. See, I almost had too much glue there. And that's what you want to be careful at doing. So there is that card. And there's the inside. Isn't that cool? And this is what I put on the envelope for this one, the boy fishing. Okay. Now we're on to card number 3. So if you have a person that's a fisherman or a fish enthusiast, this is a wonderful card. And this is where I use the sponging, the blending brush, but I don't have it on me. So my husband has headphones on, so I'll show it, but I won't glue it all together because I would like to add that. But you see the one done with the blending, okay? And then this is what I did on the inside with the Pier, and then a partial of the Pier on the envelope. So let's get started for this one. So this is the new cloud cover. It's the end color for 2025 through 2027. So we're going to go ahead, and this is 4 1/4 by 11. And we're going to fold this in half. Now, next, this is the inside piece. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4 of the basic white. And we want to stamp the Pier. And the Pier was stamped in, what color did I use? Early Espresso. So we'll use the Early Espresso. And it's only a portion of the Pier. It's not the whole Pier. So when you ink it up, we're only going to ink up half of it. So keep in mind when you go to stamp it, you're only going to be stamping half of it. And you count to 5 and press on it firmly. Don't rock it. So there's partial of the Pier. So don't think you have to use the whole image, okay? Alrighty. And next, we're going to go ahead and stamp this sentiment, which is done in the Secret C. That one I just used with Early Espresso. The Secret C is the sentiment and the fish. And this is the one that says, thinking of you. And this is my scrap white. I never get rid of it. I did share a video, and I can't tell if I got it straight or not. I'll know after I stamp it. Nope. I had it too far away. I'll have this straight. Just press firmly. Oh, that's worse. Let me try over here. Sometimes it helps to stamp on a darker. That's much better. That's straight. Okay, so now we need a fish. So let me get my big block and get this fish out. Oh, wrong one. That is the smaller fish. I want the bigger fish. Small fish was the only one I didn't use when I stamped these cards, creating these cards today. So, we're going to ink this up. And because it is a fine outline, I will prime it just to make sure. Now, this would look cool if you're trying to make this for a lady. You can use your Wink of Stella and color it in, and it will be a shimmering fish. You're just going to count to 5 and then pull up. Isn't that a cool image? Yeah. Okay. And next we want to stamp the grass. Honey, you still have your headphones in? Yes, he does. He can't hear me. He is totally tuned out for me. Okay, so I'm going to bring the grass back in. And we're going to put grass here. And grass here. And grass here. What I may do, do I have a piece of tissue paper? I do. I'll do that. Let's try that. Since I don't have my blending brush, I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock. I'm going to show you when you don't have something, what you can do with something else. So we're going to scrunch it up. Yeah. And we're just going to go in a circular motion. Blot it. Always blot it. Because otherwise it's going to be too dark. Because you see how it picks up on the outside edges when I hit the outside edges. But isn't that cool? Now, if you wanted a softer look, you have to use a blending brush. But this is just like, what do you call it? Not tissue paper. It's more like the paper that you have between carbon copies. But see how that's a softer look? Yeah. But since I didn't bring it in here, that's why we're doing that. And I'm not going to add any more color. There's more than enough color here. So we're just going to blend it around to give it a little bit of a blue edge. And you'll see what I mean. So, knowing Gina, you know how I can just come up with something. Especially when I can't get my husband's attention, right? Anyways, let me move that out of the way before Fifi finds it and she has a field day with it. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and put our pieces together. So let's get our card base back in here. Okay. We're going to insert our individual piece first. Sorry about that. Put the bone folder up. It was in my way. There we go. Now we're going to place this inside the card base. And you'll really see that sponged edge after I lay this in here. See that? So you see that hint of blue? Yeah. And you can make it darker. To each his own, their own preference. Now, we're going to take the Bermuda Bay and we're going to mount this piece. This is 4 by 5 1/4. This is our inlay piece. It really shows the tones of the DSP when you add these other colors. Okay, now this piece is 3 3/4 by 5 and the DSP is 2 by 5. So when you have the 6 inch, you cut 1 inch off, you make it 5, and then turn and cut 2, 2, gives you 3 pieces. I showed this paper last week, but I did triangles. See if I get it centered. No edge showing. Great job there. Okay, now we're going to flip this over and add adhesive. Now I did the other one diamond shaped. This is diamond shaped. This one I'm just going to do as a square. Okay. Center that. Now, before we mount that, we need to fix this. All right, where is my snips? Right here. So this is the straight one, this is crooked, and that one's crooked. So we want to take this one, and then we're going to do what you call a tag. You just a ducktail. You're going to cut in, then you turn your scissors and your paper, and you go to the center line that you cut first, and the same thing on the other side. And it gives you a perfect one. Now we want to mount this first, so that way we know where to put the other piece. This one's important. Don't over glue it. Very thin, be modest. Very modest on that. So I'm going to put that right there to the end. And gently touch it. Now I'm going to mount this one. This is a 2 3/4 inch square of the Bermuda Bay. No, I'm wrong. This is not Bermuda Bay. This is Coastal Cabana. Can't really say Bermuda Bay is darker than that. I just had the wrong name for y'all. Okay, we'll bring this up and over. There we go. I'm going to cover up our pretty DSP. And then do the same thing here. Let's see, I'm going to get Stella out here. I think I left it back there. But I can just leave this. We can just highlight it with a shimmer pen if I want to, but I'm not. Okay, where's my lid to the glue? So there is that card, and there is your inside. Isn't that cool? Now, if you wanted to add some shimmer, I just use a shimmer pen, but this is white. I did that last time. It's not shimmer. Just put it on there. Little dots. And the eye. There we go. Just to give it. Let me move that pin out of there. But you can use your Wink of Stella and color the whole fish if you wanted to. So there is the third card. So there it is with a lighter, and there it is with a little bit darker. It's the same ink, it's just using with blending brush, and this one is using like parchment paper, as though I was trying to think of parchment paper. Okay, I don't want to put that on top because it's still wet. So let me put these out here, bring them back in, and that was the stamp set we used, Peaceful Pier. And then here is this one. I'll do it like that. And of course, the first one with the trees. So, hopefully they're all in the picture there. Not quite. I have to do it like that so you can see them. But anyways, I want to thank each one of you for joining in with me tonight to see this. And thank you for those who will be watching the replay throughout the week or the couple weeks. Have a wonderful week. Take care, and I'll see you here next Monday. Bye-bye. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, B. Appreciate it.